Hey, I wanted to ask something that is bothering me. I am kind of petite, 5 feet 1 inch tall, and around 105 to 110 pounds. When a guy lies on me to cuddle, for example, I feel crushed and ask for mercy because I feel like I can't even take a deep breath. I was heavier when I was younger, so maybe it's self-consciousness, but I am very nervous to lie with my whole body weight on top of a guy. So the question is, do you feel the same chest pressure as I do, but just don't talk about it? Or are you used to it? Or really, it's not an issue and you can still breathe fine? For example, the guy weighs around 150 pounds. Story 1. As with everything, it depends on the person. Communication is your friend. But as a 6 foot, 185-pound guy with a girlfriend who is 5 feet 3 inches and 115 pounds, her lying on top of me is like the equivalent of a weighted blanket. Story 2. To most men, your weight would feel like cuddling with a pillow. If women are concerned about their partner's comfort while cuddling, try to keep your hair from covering their face. Story 3. 6 feet tall and 220 pounds here. My wife is 5 feet 6 inches and ranges between 140 and 160 pounds. I have zero trouble breathing when she puts her entire body weight laying on top of me. I cannot really sleep that way, but I can lay with her like that for over an hour without any significant discomfort. Story 4. I am your size almost exactly, original poster. In my experience, men like having my weight on them as long as I am careful with the positioning of my bony parts such as elbows, knees, and chin. Story 5. I am 6 feet 1 inch tall and weigh 250 pounds. My wife is 5 feet 4 inches tall and weighs approximately 150 pounds. I barely feel anything when she lies on me. You are fine, trust me. Story 6. I am 5 feet 8 inches tall and weigh 160 pounds. My wife is 5 feet tall and weighs 100 pounds. Bring it on. We can handle it. Actually enjoy it. There is pressure, yes, but good pressure. Story 7. I sleep with a 30-pound weighted blanket and sometimes wish it were heavier. I enjoy the crushed feeling. Story 8. I'm 5 feet 7 inches tall and weigh 205 pounds. A 105-pound woman or a 150-pound woman on my chest sounds like a lovely evening. No able-bodied 150-pound man will have a problem with you on top. When I was heavier, over 250 pounds, my former girlfriend, who weighed about 120 pounds, loved having my whole weight on top. Not in a sexual way, just loved to be squished. Anyway, don't overthink it. You're fine. It's his responsibility to communicate if there's a problem, but honestly, it will be his problem, not yours. Story 9. If a guy crushes the wind out of you when he is on top of you, tell him. He can support himself on his elbows or something. Story 10. I am 6 feet tall and weigh 220 pounds. I love when a girl lays on me. I have dated heavier girls and have not found a weight that made me uncomfortable. I am, however, very self-conscious about lying on them. Usually, I put my elbows at their sides with my arms underneath them and use my elbows to prop myself up a little. I can hold that position for a long time but eventually shift to lying down next to them. Story 11. My wife is also scared of crushing me, and I beg her to put her full body weight on me. Feels so good. Story 12. It's fine, you will not bother anyone by lying on top of them. My previous girlfriend was 100 pounds soaking wet and 4 feet 11 inches tall. I am 6 feet tall. It is really just in your head. Story 13. I have experience with women, including those your size, and men who are mostly a bit bigger than me. I am 5 feet 11 inches tall and weigh 150 pounds. You are fine and I really love this. I am careful and try to place my weight in a comfortable way when lying and cuddling with someone your size. With men, I enjoy the weight when they lie on me. It is comfortable up to 200 pounds for me. Story 14. Personally, someone lying on me is not an issue. I do not feel crushed, and the slight pressure is even endearing and comforting. Story 15. I am 6 feet 5 inches tall and weigh 240 pounds. My wife is 6 feet 1 inch tall, and she lies directly on top of me with no issues from me whatsoever. I dated a girl who was 5 feet tall, and I did not like the height difference between us. Story 16. We probably do not feel the same pressure as you. Also, Keep in mind that men have more abdominal movements when breathing. My chest barely moves. Story 17. The tinier, the better. 5 feet 1 inch just means I can put you in my pocket easily because you are microscopic. Story 18. With those statistics, I can definitely breathe fine. If I cannot, it is because you took my breath away. Story 19. Men have denser bones and more muscle than women on average. It is less crushing for us even if we were the same weight. I have dated larger women who reminded me of Louis Anderson with a wig on. While it can be somewhat uncomfortable, I would not say I could not breathe or push them off. Story 20. I am 6 feet 1 inch tall and weigh 275 pounds, while my wife is 4 feet 11 inches tall and weighs about 100 pounds. When she lies on me, it feels like a nice weighted blanket. Story 21. I am 6 feet 3 inches tall and weigh 240 pounds. If you lay on top of my chest, it would feel like a nice weighted blanket. My girlfriend is closer to 200 pounds, and she can lay on my chest for an hour while I can still breathe fine. Story 22. Don't worry about it. I promise you, you are not going to crush anyone. If someone is getting uncomfortable, they will definitely let you know. Most men prefer to have a woman on top of them in various intimate ways. Story 23. First, talk to the person. Trust what they say. Second, my wife is the same height but heavier. I am 6 feet 4 inches tall. Physically, if I am on top, I hold up my weight, but a significant part of my body is above her lungs. If she is on top, she does not have a significant part of her body above my lungs. I also have no problem, but as I said at first, my wife and I discuss things like this. Why would you not? I do not understand. Story 24. I do not think women realize the potential strength difference between themselves and men. Personally, I would not worry. Story 25. My girlfriend is around your size, but I am much bigger than the man you are describing. Either way, he will be fine. If not, he will die in a way that will make his ancestors proud. Story 26. Like others have said already, 110 pounds is very light to most men. It is not that it is tiny or puny. On average, men have the physical strength to not be bothered by that much weight. Just keep the hair out of the face area, and you will be fine. I often fall asleep with my wife lying on me, and she weighs more. Story 27. I'm a big teddy bear, so I appreciate smaller ladies. I also appreciate big ladies as well because of the same logic. Story 28. During sexual activity, I do not feel any weight, nor am I bothered by anything other than embracing the moment to the fullest. Story 29. I honestly love when my partner puts her full weight on me. I can breathe fine, and it honestly helps me sleep much easier. To be honest, I can't sleep on my back unless someone is lying on top of me. Otherwise, I sleep on my stomach. When I am on top, I never put my full body weight on them. I don't weigh that much, around 120 pounds, but I still worry about crushing them. Story 30. My wife is your size. I can pick her up with one arm. She can literally sit on my face and I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Story 31. I am on the bigger side at 6 feet 2 inches and 250 pounds. If someone your size were to lie on top of me, it would probably feel like a comfortable weight with no discomfort. With your size, I would be very conscious about accidentally hurting you, as I have accidentally done with partners your size before. I would probably treat you like you are made of glass. Story 32. I'm in the 6 feet 4 inches, 240 pounds territory, and I have a 100 pounds dog lying on top of me most of the time. I know most people would not want me to lie on them, but anything below 2 German Shepherds' weight is nothing. Really. Story 33. I am 6 feet 6 inches tall and weigh 225 pounds. A petite lady is not going to bother me, and I quite like it, to be honest. I would not put my weight on any woman except on her arm or my head. I have no idea if it would be uncomfortable. I am not good at estimating my weight or strength. Story 34. You are tiny, so no, I wouldn't have an issue. One of my ex-girlfriends was 135 pounds at 5 feet 7 inches, and she felt fine lying on my chest. It was my favorite because it felt like a weighted blanket. No issues with breathing or anything. Granted, I was 6 feet tall and 180 pounds at the time, so I am not a small person. Story 35. I am 5 feet 2 inches tall and 100 pounds. I never let guys lay on me. I am surprised you have done that. Being crushed is inevitable. I definitely think it is some insecurity from your past coming to haunt you. I promise you can relax your whole weight on someone. I have never even second-guessed doing it myself. Story 36. 5 feet 1 inch and 105 pounds would be able to sleep on me like a blanket. That is very small, and I would not even notice. Story 37. All women are smaller than me, so it is not something I really think about. I guess when I was unfit and smaller, I felt crushed by women if she was on top of me, but I have addressed that by getting bigger myself. I suppose the one thing about smaller women that I am mindful of is that they usually, but not always, have significantly shorter limbs. This can make some activities uncomfortable when shared together, such as biking or walking. Story 38. Yeah, it barely affects me. You weigh 105 to 110 pounds. Leaning on me. It's not the full 110 pounds on my torso, maybe 75 pounds. Even if it were the full weight, it would decrease breathing efficiency, but it wouldn't be suffocating in the least. The exceptionally minor discomfort is absolutely worth the intimacy. However, if it gets too hot and we start sweating, then you need to get off. Story 39. You should not feel crushed. They are not supposed to press their entire body weight on you. At barely above 100 pounds, you will not be bothering anyone. Story 40. 6 feet 4 inches, 290 pounds here, and I would throw you around like a baby doll. You could do jumping jacks on my chest without hurting me. Start looking in the mirror and loving that person. You are tiny, and I am sure you are beautiful. No guy should ever lay on top of you to snuggle. You are fun size. Story 41. My ex was 5 feet 3 inches tall and weighed 160 pounds at her heaviest. She practically slept on my chest, and I loved it. You are good. Story 42. My last girlfriend was the same height and weight as me, and I loved when she lay on top of me with her full weight. Story 43. My wife is 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighs 140 pounds. We have slept with her completely on top of me. I am 6 feet 2 inches tall and weigh 220 pounds. I did not have a problem. I thought it was nice. Story 44. I am 6 feet 4 inches tall and weigh roughly 260 pounds. I personally love having someone on top of me. I like that pressure because it can be soothing and relaxing. Ultimately, it all comes down to communicating with your partner and trusting what they say. Story 45. I have to be more careful of my size and weight, but on the other hand, I can probably hoist her over my shoulder or tuck her under my arm like a newspaper, so it is a win-win. Story 46. If I enjoy her, I have a pretty high weight threshold. I do feel bad when I am on top and when I am with a smaller woman. I remember one lady that I really clicked with except for the height difference. I found myself grabbing the top of her head, and the look of pain on her face still makes me feel guilty to this day. Too big a height difference is something I try to avoid because of it. Story 47. My dog was a huge snuggler and would lie on top of me. He was bigger than that, roughly the same size as me, but he weighed more. It was not painful and I could breathe, but I definitely was not being crushed to death. Story 48. So the question is, do you feel the same chest pressure as I do but just don't talk about it? Or are you used to it? Or really, it's not an issue and you can still breathe fine? The person, for example, is around 150 pounds. It's in between those two extremes. It's definitely not as easy to breathe when 95 to 130 pounds of a woman is putting over 75% of her body weight on my ribs or diaphragm, but it also isn't an immediate feeling of suffocation. That said, most often, women have had better distributions of their weight, either due to being partially on the bed or couch or due to more of their weight being on my pelvis, hips, or legs. So difficulty breathing hasn't come up often at all. Most of the time, it's been quite comforting when a partner has lain on top of me. Story 49. Had an ex that size, I couldn't do many repetitions, but I could use her as an oversized kettlebell. Short of standing on my diaphragm, it is not a problem. Standing on my chest would be okay for a while, but could eventually become uncomfortable. Standing on my back is the only way she could give me a great back rub. Lying on any part of me is not a problem. At most, that is 40 to 70 pounds. That is what I use for most of my free weight exercises with dumbbells. A bigger issue was inhaling hair in your sleep. In summary, do not stand on his stomach for a long period of time. Anything else will be fine. Story 50. I am a big boy and have always had to consider my size when cuddling. I have no issue whatsoever with being lied on. The only time it bothered me was when a bigger lady sat all the way on my face and I could hardly breathe, but that is a different kind of cuddling. Aside from that, I am all for it. Story 50. So go ahead and return the favor. Trust me, he does not care. Story 52. You are clearly overthinking this. No way your weight is going to crush an average bulk guy, especially if you are conscious, since you are never truly dead weight when conscious. Story 53. I have asked women twice your size to sit on my face. You are fine. I love petite women because it is fun to throw them around. Story 54. I have pressed dumbbells that way as much as you each. You would not notice. My ex was slightly heavier than you and had the same concerns until I picked her up and started pressing her overhead. You cannot really compare how you feel with someone twice your weight lying on you to how a man would feel with you at half his weight lying on him. Story 55. I am 5 feet 2 inches tall and weigh about 113 pounds. I play a game with my partner where I pretend to have died on top of him by going completely limp, and he has to get free. You will be fine. Story 56. I would barely feel you on top based on those numbers, though I can see how you feel squashed by the average man. Story 57. I was just traveling in Asia and I met some girls who were literally 4 feet 9 inches tall. I am 6 feet 3 inches tall. I thought it was rather cute. I do not mind the height difference at all. Story 58. My fiancée has the same issue and a similar size to you. If she lays her head or even her full body on me, it makes no difference. If anything, it feels nice. Story 59. I am 5 feet 5 inches tall and approximately 160 pounds, so I am on the small side for a man. I would support my weight if I were on top of someone your size while cuddling. I would be quite happy to take your weight if the roles were reversed and someone of your size was on top of me cuddling. Story 60. My wife is the same height and roughly the same weight as the original poster. I am 5 feet 11 inches tall and weigh 210 pounds for reference. She might as well be a cat with her entire body weight on top of me. There is no crushing pressure and I can breathe just fine. That is just my account, but I imagine it is similar with most men. Story 61. My girlfriend is a little heavier than me, and I am quite thin. Her weight on me is not uncomfortable. I cannot take very deep breaths easily, but I do not feel like I am struggling to breathe either. Story 62. My ex had roughly pulled your numbers. When she was lying on me while trying to fall asleep, she would complain about me moving too much while breathing. If he is healthy, you are good. Story 63. I am 5 feet 2 inches tall and weigh 165 pounds. I have been with men who had no problems breathing, and if they did, they were strong enough to push me off. I know this because they could lift me as if I weighed nothing. Story 64. My wife weighs 90 pounds, and I weigh 160 pounds. I honestly do not feel any difference in breathing when she lies on me. Story 65. I am the definition of big and tall. Let's just say that the logistics would not work out the other way around. You could start jumping on my chest for all I care, though. I would not feel a thing. Yes, I am exaggerating, but you get my point. Story 66. Most men will not have a problem with a woman lying on them. Do not overthink it. Just do it, and if there is a problem, you can adjust by lying partially on his side. Story 67. I can lift over 300 pounds above my head. I do not even register the weight of someone around 100 pounds. Story 68. The weight is spread so much that most men will barely register it. Do not step or kneel on his chest and he will be fine. Story 69. So the question is, do you feel the same chest pressure as I do but just do not talk about it? Or are you used to it? It is not nearly as bad as you think it is. Story 70. I am 5 feet 11 inches and 145 pounds, and I am just fine when my shorter girl, who is about 120 pounds, is with me. You are smaller than her, and I am smaller than your guy, so you should be fine. Story 71. The last woman I regularly shared a bed with was a 90-kilogram powerlifter. She often slept lying on me like a cat, and I had no issues with it. Story 72. I really don't mind, especially since I am not a very tall guy either. I am 5 feet 5 inches and 130 pounds, skinny and toned. I guess this usually depends on individual preferences. Story 73. My wife is just a little shorter than me, and I never lie fully on top of her. I might rest the weight of my head on her chest, but that is all. Story 74. My ex was 4 feet 11 inches tall. She used to lie with her full weight on top of me, no problems at all. If I did the same thing to her, however, she would be seriously hurt. Story 75. At approximately 105 pounds, and your guy being 150 pounds, it should not be a problem as long as he is height and weight proportionate. For example, if he is 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighs 150 pounds, a thick t-shirt might hinder his breathing. However, an average person, approximately 5 feet 9 inches tall and 150 pounds, should be just fine. Other than that, ask him, not me. Story 76. I would not put my whole body weight on any size of woman. I am attracted to short, petite girls, so I would be careful for sure. I am 6 feet 1 inch tall and weigh 176 pounds. Story 77. I do have a fondness for women who are on the smaller side, but I also understand that this preference comes with drawbacks that I have to manage. The issue you mentioned about feeling crushed when cuddling requires being conscious of one's own size. You just have to understand this difference and be mindful of your partner. There are ways to avoid uncomfortable size problems. Story 78. You're fine. Don't be shy to ask if it is uncomfortable for your partner. Make sure they know it's okay to let you know if it is, and vice versa. Story 79. My ex weighed 75 kilograms, which is about 160 pounds, and when she lay on me, it was fine. I wouldn't worry about it unless you are dating a very skinny man. Story 80. It depends. I hate being compressed, but I am strong enough to support my heavier girlfriend most of the time. My girlfriend likes to be compressed but does not have the strength to support or remove me, so I have to be careful and monitor her ability to breathe. Things are not black and white. This should be a conversation between you and your partner. Ongoing communication is key because things are not static and may change day by day. Story 81. There is some pressure, but not to the point of being uncomfortable. In fact, I love her hugging me with her arms and legs, with her whole body on top of me. It makes me feel that she trusts me and feels safe around me. Story 82. I love petite women. There are many things you can do that a larger woman cannot, including some not safe for work activities. Story 83. Find yourself a partner with autism. There is a high chance they feel pressure or weight on them to be very relaxing. Story 84. I guess having a woman on me does restrict my breathing a bit, but not to the point that I am uncomfortable. You are fine. If you are not, he will tell you. Women worry about the strangest things. Story 85. I am 5 feet 10 inches tall, and my wife is 5 feet 1 inch tall and weighs 100 pounds. I am not exactly sure what the question is. I have never really thought about height, and I have been with women under 5 feet tall in the past. Story 86. As a 6'2" and 190-pound man, I love it. My last 4 women were 5'4" and 132 pounds, 5'1" and 125 pounds, 5'3" and 127 pounds, 5'2" and 114 pounds. Cuddling with someone that size is amazing, and being able to hold her in the air while standing is even better. Story 87. I prefer women who are smaller than me. I am 5 feet 7 inches tall and weigh 165 pounds. A smaller woman means I can wrap my arms around her and make her feel warm, cozy, and safe. Also, when lying on the couch, bed, or grass, it feels more natural for me. My wife is about 3 inches shorter than me and weighs about 15 to 20 pounds more. It is not too bad, but because I am more toned and athletic, it does not feel quite right when she is on top of me. I know that sounds bad, but I cannot really hold or hug her properly. Story 88. I am a tall man, 196 centimeters, and I have a preference for small women. Not just short, but also petite. I enjoy lifting them during intimate moments and feeling connected when I am on top. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.